Hello, hello.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to another summer live, social media live. We're going to be talking some fun stuff today.
Yeah, who doesn't love to stop in the middle of some of the busiest time of the year and look at me and you on social media?
It's your favorite thing to
Yeah,
do.
absolutely. Absolutely. We are going to be talking today about summer is for cookouts, not burnouts. And so, just right now is such a busy time for contractors. We know that you guys are living in the hustle and the bustle of hopefully, fingers crossed, just running deep. So, today we just thought we would just give you some refreshers, some reminders, and honestly, some encouragement today to keep going and make the most of this summer season.
Yeah, not only for you yourselves as the owner and the operator trying to make this happen, but also for your team. How can they not get burnout? How can you be a support to them? And so we've got all the little nuggets. And so
All the fun stuff.
we are trying to bring all this information to you here live, but this is also what Lemon Seed does every day for our clients. So we are your marketing and branding strategy and coaches. We help you have a very brand forward approach. How can you be out in the community? How can you be doing employee engagement and things and tying all the marketing pieces together with it? We try to create comprehensive, organized marketing approaches so that you feel very confident going to market and having a solid plan.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So, the biggest question that we say, what are the biggest struggles that you have with marketing? I don't feel creative. I don't know what works, and I'm just disorganized and I can't pay enough attention. And I'm like, oh my gosh,
You need
here
Lemon
we are.
Seed.
And we do try to specifically solve the issue of marketing whelmedness, whether it be over or underwhelmed.
The whelmingness of your life.
Yes. We try to really be the solution for that, and just a dedicated set of teams. Andrea, our operations manager, was telling me today that she did a follow-up with one of our clients, and they were like, it's just so nice that you guys are like my support team. And there's a team of people that care a lot about our brand and our company, and we've all gotten to know each other, know the quirks, know what we like and don't like, and that is very passionate. That's what we're very passionate about. And so I'm Crystal Williams, co-founder, lead strategist, Lemon Seed Marketing.
And I'm Emily Flanagan, co-founder and rocking the creative side of the company. So
Yeah.
we found that this is what contractors need. They need both sides of a strong brand that's disruptive and stands out, in their market, but then also an ongoing service, the continuation of the brand through multi verticals. And so today's social media live is just going to be like, how does your marketing need to adapt and change now in summer and peak season time?
So you want to take your eye off the ball right now because leads are coming in because weather's generating it, hopefully.
Correct. And so it's like, turn it all off. Like we have too many
We don't
calls.
need any of this.
Yeah. We have too many calls on what we can handle. When in reality, that's going to totally backfire on you come fall, come slower time of season. You're like, where's all the calls? What happened? So we don't want to take our foot off the gas.
Yeah.
But how can we be intentional about what we're actually doing right now in summer during peak season? And then also what can we be doing to support our own team as they're out there cooking in the sun too?
Oh gosh, yes. And those of you that are maybe you're plumbers or something that's not as seasonal, you still are in the heat, right? Even though Emily and I just got back from the Pacific Northwest, and y'all's heat is different than Texas heat. We stepped off the airplane yesterday into a straight up sauna. And we were like, why do we live here?
This is the time of year we don't know why we live
We're
here.
like, what are we doing?
But we got to the Seattle area and they're like, it's so hot. And we're like, 81?
Yeah, they're like, we're under a heat advisory. And I'm like, ma'am, this is like a December Thursday.
Like this feels fantastic. No humidity.
Absolutely.
But, everyone does have their own seasonality and like in their market, what feels different to them and like where calls are different picking up. So like 81 felt fantastic to us. No one in Texas would be complaining about that. But in the Seattle
other than
area,
heating and air conditioning companies.
Yes.
No one wants an 81-degree day in July. And I even did a sales call this morning and I was talking to him and I said, well, consider, what we really need is like 5 or 6 consecutive 100-degree days. And everybody's HVAC business would be on the running.
Back on track,
yeah. So I think today, like to kind of help us get started, I see several of y'all are already on. I would love for you to drop into the comments. We're testing some new stuff today. So we want you to drop into the comments, like on a scale of 1 to 10, like how organized do you feel with your marketing strategy overall? So 10 being like, I'm organized. I kill it every day. I know what to expect. With 1 being like, you know what? I wake up every day and just hope it all works.
Yes.
So somewhere in the middle, we just love to know, like, how do you feel about being organized? And how do we keep ourselves, like Emily mentioned, moving forward during the summer when it's the busiest time? And if I'm talking to just some marketers today, that aren't in the necessarily the heavy operations, marketers, like, this is your time to shine. Your operators, your owners, they don't really have as much time to dedicate to brainstorming and collaboration, but they need you to keep the ball rolling. They need you to keep projects fresh, on brand, and all of that. So I'm excited to jump into this.
Sure. So, season often involves like the chaos. So how can we still keep that organized structure? Like, what should we be thinking about? Like, we're saying that we need to change our marketing strategy a little bit for this peak time, for the chaos. So what does that actually mean?
Well, so, what you can't do is let the hustle and bustle of summer get in the way where you start just pushing marketing all the way to the side. So, we should be spending less money. So no matter what industry you're in, you can technically and theoretically spend a little bit less money when weather or just seasonality is pushing more leads your way. But what happens right now is everybody just kind of looks around and then they like go into hibernation mode when it comes to their marketing. And then they look up in September and they're like, what's wrong? All of a sudden there's nothing there. Right. And really what they've done is just take their eye off the ball. So what I encourage you to do is, first of all, you still need to make your marketing meetings. So I know that you're like July 20th and you want me to get on here and hear about CTR and CPL, and I don't even know what half of this is.
The alphabet soup.
Alphabet soup. It is important that you prioritize meeting with your vendors.
For sure.
And not just Lemon Seed. I mean, side note, meet with Lemon Seed correctly too, but we hear this all the time when we try to collaborate with other vendor partners. So when we're trying to like vet some people and things like that, they're always like, man, I loved working with that client. They never make their meetings. And sure enough, I'll talk to the client and I'll say, well, what's wrong? And they're like, I don't know. I mean, she's tried to call me a few times, but I don't ever make the calls, but I need to go with a new company. And I'm like, how do you know that?
Well, and I think contractors sometimes often expect that the vendors are going to be, I'm just going to hire them and that's going to solve and fix everything.
Yeah.
And that they don't have to participate in the conversation or give their local insight, give the actuals of what's happening in their business so that the vendor knows how to pivot. You've got to still participate in it. And
it's a partnership.
Correct. And a lot of people don't give enough to that. But in this partnership, you can also be, again, you got to make it a partnership. So what is the actual messaging and wording that is going out in all of our advertising? When weather's creating demand for us, a lot of times all we need to do is keep brand forward, okay? Have just a branded approach, get my name, what we stand for, keep our mass media happening and rolling and rocking and rolling. But we don't need as much of the like quick call to action, low barrier of entry offers. Like weather's already creating us to get our foot in the door. We just need them to know our name, to search us directly and call us versus, oh, I got a coupon in the mail with something low and cheap. That's not our approach right now. We need to save that for shoulder season.
Well, yeah. And so like right now you don't have to offer these steep discounts because again, and we're mainly talking specifically to HVAC contractors right now. Right now, people are going to expect Texans. We're not going to live without HVAC, without our air conditioning system.
It's literally life or death.
Yeah, well, I mean, sure, yes. And so I'm like, we're not going to live without it. So you don't even have to convince me. You may have to convince me in October when I'm like, okay, maybe I can kind of limp along.
Right.
But honestly, right now, if you build the right value, if your content's good, your CSRs are still killing it, you can pretty much sell. This is when you can make the most money on your products, is leaving them wide open. So even Lemon Seed goes through this. So there's times of the year that Lemon Seed's leads are slower. So we are more aggressive on pricing. That's just how it works because I need the business more when contractors are busier. But then again, guess what happens in the fall? Everybody's decided they want to be better at marketing. And so I'm like, hey, now is not a good time for me to throw discounts around because I've learned that from being in the HVAC business. And then plumbers, same thing. So, when there's a freeze coming or there is a big like flood and there's lots of water and stuff everywhere, you don't have to get so caught up in how can I give everything away? It's more about the danger of turning off your marketing. It is so residual. You don't realize it until much later that, oh my gosh, I turned this off, because marketing builds on itself. It compounds. And so that's why branding today, somebody was like, well, what is the one thing you think I should do? I was like, compound. And he was like, that's a trick answer. I was like, you gave me a trick question.
Yeah.
Because there is no one silver bullet secret sauce. And I think a lot of people are looking for that. And right now, y'all are going to be sitting fat and happy because the weather has driven it. But in things like Chirp, Hatch, Marketing Pro, those are not new customer acquisition tools. Those are rehash and re-engagement tools, right? PPC is a new customer tool. It's just expensive. So you're spending what, $500-$600 per lead in the Phoenix market right now. I think I read yesterday. So, I mean, if that's your game, that's the game you want to run, go run it. But right now, you just can't turn things completely off. You might can dial back, but I wouldn't turn things off. And then I just think burnout, to kind of go along with our theme, burnout really comes from you over analyzing data to the point that you just paralyze yourself. So,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, this PPC is not working today. In this 3-hour window, I need to turn it off. I need to move it. And guys, I'm just telling you, you need to settle down. I did make a post one time and I said, some of y'all just need to sit down. And people were like, why did that resonate with me? Because you're just in a tizzy about marketing.
Well, for sure. And going back to that PPC, so like right now, again, a super expensive tactic. But also your cost per lead goes up when you are operating at 100% efficiency. And so your operations have to be in check, in control. We are answering the phone, every single phone call. We are making the most of it. That's when because you're paying the same amount for marketing, but if you're not operating on all cylinders, your cost per lead is going to actually go up. So if you know that your operations isn't actually able to facilitate all this, take some of that call to action spend down a little bit. Again, keep that just brand forward. You're kind of mass media, just keeping my name out there. Keep that as your presence, and then tone back your call to action, those super expensive costs, if you know you're not going to be able to operate on all cylinders just because of the chaos.
Yeah, for sure. And like, shout out to Searchlight. Searchlight is a really good, unbiased, that's my word for them. That's my descriptor. Searchlight don't care who you're with. They're going to give you raw information on what is performing.
Here's the data.
And, take it for what it's worth. But digital companies can take it for what it's worth, because your digital company is always going to come back and be like, oh, I don't trust that kind of stuff. Well, spoken like a true person who wants some grace in their product deliverability, right? So you can't ask the prisoners how the prisons ran sometimes, or you can't ask, the warden, how do you think this prison's ran? Most of the time they're going to say, I think I run the heck out of this thing. And then everybody else is like, it's a crap show, So you just really have to let somebody with not a dog in the fight really show you what's working. And so Searchlight is a really good way. You should be integrating. Basically what they're going to do is integrate all of your AdWords accounts and everything into your CRM and show you true value of what you're paying for. So I made a Facebook post yesterday and it said, you should be diversifying your vendors. That's not a popular opinion. So people are like, Lemon Seed, so y'all do websites, so I can get with Lemon Seed and y'all do everything for me. So that answer is a double-edged sword. So yes is the answer. The problem is we are not the actual vendor. So then contractors really have to process, okay, so what do y'all do? Well, we are like the conductor of your orchestra. So we make sure that every instrument is playing at the right time. And the reason that matters is because if all of your eggs are in one company's basket and they start just really screwing up with whatever aspect, now you're literally tied to it. And so if you remove yourself from that company, you have to move everything. So there's just some pros and cons.
Yeah. And you need a conductor, because how do we know that everyone's playing the same song?
Yes.
So when no one's in the middle creating that organization, creating that structure, that we have consistent branded messaging, you got someone, oh, I didn't realize that those Facebook ads are still running and we're still running a heating tune-up special.
Or they'll say, oh, we don't even do water heaters. Why is that on our website? I'm like, sir, I have no idea. I don't work there, but for sure, again, in the summertime right now, those are the kinds of things that are going to flip and flail around that Lemon Seed was designed to do, was stand in the gap. For those of you that are Christians, that's people stand in the gap for each other. But what we want to do is stand in that gap to help contractors take that load off of their plate of the manipulation of everything all the time. But still, it's still a partnership, because we don't understand, like, oh my gosh, one of my technicians just got diagnosed with something. I need to back off, so I don't need as many. Why are we generating leads that we can't service? Those of you that can't do an install till next month, why are y'all running leads right now? Y'all can't even do the work you're doing,
right? But
you're still pushing money in very expensive tactics. I'm like, convert everything over to branding and run what you got, because you're running the customer journey by saying, who in the heck can go, you know what? Let me be hot for 2 weeks while y'all figure out when somebody can come and install it. I mean, we've got companies that'll install it today, like same day install. So, just again, a lot of contractors need the support there, whether it's through Lemon Seed or someone internally focused on pushing and pulling when you need to push and pull.
Well, speaking of that, and we've kind of talked about how that you have actual insights, to your marketing, I think sometimes also having insights to your own team. Again, now is the time of year that they can get really burnt out, that they feel out of control and chaotic, and sometimes hopefully they don't feel underappreciated, but I think that could possibly be it when they're sweating in 140-degree, attics, and when they're, you know, going through all their clothes and stuff. So I think it's very important for owners to be living out your core values right now. So like, what do you actually stand for? Like, do you actually stand for integrity? Well, are you off posting pictures on social media of your fantastic vacation in
Trip
the
to Bora
Bahamas?
Bora? No, ma'am.
Yes, sipping on Mai Tais when your team is out there. Like, maybe that's not the time to actually do that. So how can you provide support to them? Show them that you do actually care. A lot of you guys say like, we're like family. Okay, are y'all acting like family right now? How do you make your weekly meetings or daily meetings, whatever your little huddles are, how do you make those impactful and not like, oh my God, I got things to do. Like, they can't wait to get out of this meeting. How do you make it a positive experience, but we're not dragging this out. We're not meeting just for the sake of meeting. It's actually providing value to them. It takes some intentionality to have that insight to what your team is actually needing as well too.
Yeah. And chaos breeds chaos, right? So a lot of times they're looking to see the behavior that you're going to expect. And so if your behavior, so I was not here, I was gone. So, Andrea and Lupita, a lot of y'all know Andrea, ops manager, Lupita, sales girl. They did a sales call together, and I get this message that says, hey, this client cannot work with us. And they're like, basically, he's like, yeah, I frequently cuss out my customers because people aren't going to treat us that way. And then I'll tell my team to, kick rocks and all that. And I'm like, oh, okay, so no one wants to work with you or for you.
Correct.
Because you're breeding chaos, right? And then, like Emily said, just like taking your eye off the ball, all in the name of work-life balance. So I think that is, sometimes I get so frustrated with that term because I understand the term, but when people abuse it, it deflates it to me. So there is a healthy thought of a good work-life balance. But listen, you chose to open a company and run a company and lead people, whether you like it or not. And so if you're taking 10 weeks of vacation while you're pushing hard on them, well, you only get 2 weeks of vacation. It can't be during the summer. There's just a lot of like, what's good for the goose is good for the gander kind of thing. And so I encourage you to be above reproach right now. So when it's hot outside, you show up on the job site with Gatorades. When it is chaos and a customer is showing out, step in and help solve some of those issues. Don't run and hide behind your team. But more than anything, they just need you to lead. They need you to be the calm in the storm. They need you to be the reassurer. They need you to sometimes rescue them. And that's what we're called to do. That's what we can do. But one of those things is making sure that you're protecting them once you come out of this little storm of summer, which again, it's a good storm,
right?
But at the end, you're like literally exhausted from the grind. Just start thinking like, what can I do for my team in September? Y'all, a high five is free. A good job, a coffee bar,
a word of encouragement,
snow cones, or just like a little simple
handwritten note.
Yes, all those things are important, I think, in just like updating, elevating your culture expectations during this time.
Well, and then also, like, what can you do for your team's families? They've probably also been pushed to the wayside a little bit as your team member has been working extra hours, working on weekends, things like that, just to service all of your customers. So what are some ways that you can show appreciation to the family, to the spouses, things like that? So I know in Texas, it's still very hot in September, even October a little bit. So like, at the end of September, you might rent out the water park and bring your family, bring
especially
your
those little small ones.
Right. It might be renting out the movie theater and like, hey, that's super cheap to do. In most cities, we've done that a couple times.
Well, and we live in a little small town, so we get what we can. But renting out like those indoor jungle gym things, and it's just about acknowledging that your people are working hard. So if you're not naturally an acknowledge and encourager, that's just not your natural being. It doesn't excuse you. Well, that's just not who I am.
Right.
Well, it doesn't excuse you from the fact that your team needs and appreciates acknowledgement. And like, you know what? You're doing a great job. Like sometimes I almost over encourage because I like to be like, oh my gosh, this was a good idea. But sometimes I'm like, don't say it if it's not real. Cause sometimes I'll be like, wow, this was a really good effort, But a couple of exact examples. McWilliams takes our wives, partners, so wives or husbands, just different things, to like a little shopping spree. So like one year we did $100 gift cards. We took the wives to a downtown boutique. So we shopped local, we supported them, and we just kind of wined and dined. They got to buy whatever they wanted to with this gift card. But at the door was me as the marketing person, like, thank you so much for supporting Dustin. I know it's so hard when he's working on weekends, and they always are like, this is so nice.
Sure.
And same thing with the guys. Like, okay, guys don't really want to rent out a boutique, but we were doing like Academy gift cards with this handwritten note from Trey about, hey, thanks for supporting, Jackie, our dispatcher, and supporting her while we rush through the summer times. Again, did it cost us money? Yes. But at the end of the day, we got the wives back on our side.
Sure.
And we just showed acknowledgement and support for that.
Well, and ultimately, at the end of the day, that is a whole lot cheaper than having to hire someone new when they are leaving. Like, I'm just so unappreciated. I'm not my wife feels I'm underappreciated. Like, she's mad at me for this, so
I have to work all these times. We can't go on vacation. Like, you got to cover that up.
So acknowledging it and making it better. And so that's another thing about this summertime right now is I think you still have to be authentic.
Yeah.
So like on social media and stuff, I think it's totally appropriate to show kind of behind the scenes.
What a day for content.
Correct. 100%. Like, people don't need to see your super polished, finished, photoshopped images right now. They're totally fine seeing you looking sweat, or like, this is what I just pulled out of the attic. Like, who had the longest snake? Like, sometimes that can be happening.
Or showing like the temperature in an attic.
Yes.
Getting your technicians to do that, and like driving up on a job site and they're drenched in sweat and just being like, hey, we know how important it is. It's just, again, this is about intentionality, and people don't like these. People do not like this. But if you want to get content, you will.
Right.
So to say that you can't, that's not a true statement. You need to rely on the fact you could, you're just not prioritizing it. And if it's not you, then who? So do you have a CSR? Do you have a dispatcher that, hey, 3 hours a week, I want you to go collect content? Show up, collect your install coordinator, somebody.
Well, and that's the type of stuff that we're talking about, of how, you can still stay out there without spending ad spend and without, pushing low barrier of entry offers. But it's also just other people, even if they're not calling you, they got their new system last summer. They don't need you right now, but they can still see that post on social media and be like, oh my gosh, they're always working so hard. They're always doing the right thing. Things like
this is my company.
Right. They'll still engage with you in that way. And so that's what we're talking about, of how you can still stay out there. Don't let the chaos of the season be excuses to not do anything.
I watch this all the time. I watch contractors be so inundated with tasks that they're doing that they actually are getting nothing done.
Yeah.
And so what happens is they're just putting out all these little fires. And again, Andrea was talking about this today. She's like, sometimes I have to remember, like, I know I worked today. What did I get done? And it's like, well, you can either seize the day or the day is going to seize you. And so figuring out like how to be really intentional with your time. And so for operators, right, for those of you that are running the company, like at the helm of the ship, you have to be intentional about how you're going to run the day. And so if content is important, then the team needs to see you prioritizing content. If training is important, then the team needs to see. So you can't rush jobs because it's summer and you need to get to the next one. So if you have a debrief process, you don't get to skip that during summer. Summer's the most important time. It's also the most opportunistic time to sell membership clubs. So you're going to be mad come fall when you're like, dang, we don't have hardly any membership sold.
Sure.
Well,
we
you
don't
ran
have anything
400 service calls. Y'all's conversion rate. Well, my team just don't like maintenance club. Well, do they like money? I mean, do they like having a job? Like, you got to kind of get yourself back in that goal. Again, it really relies on leadership during the summer.
Well, for sure. Two things. One, you got to inspect what you expect. So are you even looking like, hey, are you getting daily? Do you have a scorecard of, hey, we need 10 new memberships sold today. We sold 0 every single day. Are we bringing that up? Or we sold 9. Great job, guys. Let's see if we can push it over to the top. So you got to inspect what you expect. Don't just look up in September and be like, oh, we didn't sell any. I expected y'all to sell 500 and we sold none. What happened?
If you don't know September's numbers until October, friend, you're out of.
But then also, you keep what you celebrate. So if you want to be having these maintenance programs, or you want to be having your team members stay through the season for you, celebrate that part, okay? Because if you let it just fall to the wayside, like we're talking about this appreciation for the spouse, things like that, you will keep what you celebrate. So shout out these awesome employees. Shout out when they went the extra mile, they still did the debrief, where they uploaded the pictures to service time, when they did all these things. Celebrate those things. Give them the public recognition, whether it's just in the Slack channel, if it's in your daily huddle, or whatever that might be, because you will keep what you celebrate, okay? So make sure that you are celebrating those things that you want to have happen.
Yeah. And I mean, Emily and I were on an on-site well, I guess, gosh, was that yesterday?
It was yesterday. We
or
got home
day
at like 10
before, I
p.m.
can't remember, but we were at an on-site and we sat through their tech meeting, and I was like, listen, this is not a huge company.
Mhm.
This is a company that is very, you know what they are? They're just good people and they care about their people. But at the beginning of the call, they were like, we're going to celebrate 3 years, and John's been with us 3 years. And so everybody clapped and they handed him $100 bill,
Mhm.
not a clock with his name engraved. Literally, the guy opened his wallet, pulls out $100 bill, walks over and hands it to him. And everybody was clapping and cheering for this guy. And I'm like, the guy's been here 3 years.
Mhm.
And some people be like, oh, $100. They were so
Sure.
celebratory for him. Then they were like, and look on the screen, look at these reviews that are calling people out. And they were like clapping and celebrating each other. And hell, we were clapping.
No,
we
I mean,
were like, this is so good for you. Way to go, Haley. Way to go, Megan, whoever, It was just an exciting time, because then I tell you what, dudes are really hard to impress. Okay. So they act like they don't like any of the quirky stuff.
Mhm.
But I can promise you, when they got on a call and they were like, hey, you know what really helped me is if you'd mentioned my name in this review. Do you think they're going to stand up in a meeting and be like, well, listen, I tried and I couldn't get it? They're going to act like it's no big deal. You as the leader have to know that every time you're celebrating and doing those things, it's becoming stickier and stickier in their mind and a part of their process, to just build up your brand and build up your team during that time. So there's some tips that you can really use for current visibility that I think are really good. So a good time for brand awareness. Think about all your trucks are driving around everywhere.
Mhm.
You have tons of content opportunities. You should be blowing up social media right now. And then just stay top of mind, even when you're not promoting, like Emily mentioned earlier. So, just because you're not pushing out an offer doesn't mean you can't still promote who you are as a company and just celebrating some of those. So
Sure. I mean, even as simple as having like yard signs, like they have a stack of yard signs in the back of their truck when they finish everything, just putting it right there. Okay. So that goes, and again, they're not going to last for 10 years. Okay. The customer's not going to keep that yard sign out in front of their yard for the next 8 years. No, that's not going to happen. But what is going to happen is when the neighbors who are all at work, they come home at the end of the day, they're going to see that little yard sign, and your neighbors, the customer that you just serviced, see that there. It's another just brand reiteration. It's a trusted source for them to be like, my system's been acting up a little bit too. How was that with Deep Dive or with whoever, Mick Williams? And they're going to give them firsthand account. That is the most gold lead that you can do. So again, I would much rather pay for this $8 yard sign than, this $500 PPC lead or something like that. So don't slack off on those little things with just a little bit of an intentionality, how it can really make a big impact.
Well, you want to come off of summer, especially my HVAC friends, with a lot of momentum going into fall. And so like right now, how your summer is going and how you choose to grow from it is how your fall is going to be. So, we want to be very intentional right now with everything that we're tracking, and so tracking what's working, making sure that we're not taking our foot off the gas, keep everything rolling. Again, please don't turn off your marketing. And then get content, because all these before and afters, all the things, you don't have to use them right now. You can use them in the fall when you're like, I wish we could do an install today, but let's pretend like we did. Check out this install that we did for the Williams family. There's a lot of power in just repurposing your content there. And then, like Emily mentioned, shout out your people publicly and on social media if they're willing to, and just get a lot of content done.
Yeah, and all that content can be repurposed in emails. So we're talking a lot about social media, but like emails is a great way to just stay top of mind, to tap into your existing customer database. Again, how can we still be out there without having to do all the super call to action type pieces? So featuring those before and afters, featuring your team shout outs, featuring some fun recipes or like local activities of like, hey, Balloon Fest is in town this weekend. You can get your tickets here. Just being a resource is where people are going to still read and engage. Again, it may not be like booking a call right this second, but that's not the intent of it. Again, we're just trying to stay top of mind, stay brand forward. This is all of our existing customer database. So again, how can we earn that referral? Stay top of mind so that they can give that for us to someone else.
Yeah, don't sleep on referrals for sure. So I see, John, I see your question. What are y'all seeing as the biggest opportunities for companies 1 to 5 mil who might not have the money to actually hire a legit agency instead of a buddy that says he knows marketing? So I'm assuming you're talking about websites like digital marketing. So honestly, we have a little decent approach here. If you were brand new, if Emily and I were going to go open our own, Crystal and Emily's heating and air conditioning company, we're going to do a couple of things quickly. We're going to get a website that's SEO optimized, and we're going to get as much as fast as we can with GLSA, Google Local Services. So those are the three things on the actual ad side, and then we're going to launch social media like it's nobody's business. So because social media is expensive, but only in time, not in actual dollars. And so when you're starting a new company, the idea and the expectation that you're going to be able to go get in an office chair and just wait for the leads to roll in like the tide at the ocean, it ain't going to happen. You got to go put in some elbow grease. So if you're looking for a digital company, I would say get a strong SEO, AI, all those things, someone that really knows that. And then I just think GLSA is silly not to be actively participating in. But
100%. And I'm a little sad you didn't say the brand, but that's almost a given. Why she didn't even almost say that. But again, if you're brand new, because when you're still smaller, 1 to 5 million or whatever, redoing the brand now or investing in a good brand is the cheapest time that you will ever have it. So again, when it stands out as super polished, super clean, super disruptive, like it doesn't look like everybody else's truck, that will also help drive leads for you, because all of a sudden you're getting noticed versus having to only rely on your marketing spend to create leads to make yourself more well known. So yeah, specifically for digital. And then why? So for some of our friends that may not know, why is Google Local Service Ads almost like a no-brainer?
Well, because you're only theoretically, you're really only paying for leads as they actually are real opportunities. So PPC, Wild Wild West, we're just clickety clacking around. Okay. GLSA is where it should be. Now it's probably a little bit looser, but now a call actually came into you that was in your service area and you provided the services and you had an opportunity to book. If they're tire kickers, they're tire kickers, but at the end of the day, you had an opportunity to book. So for sure, if you're a real small company, check on your brand now, because it ain't no fun to rebrand a $20 million company. And then second of all, website SEO, paid ads is all relative. I'm going to talk about Google Local Service Ads. Right. If you do not have a website with SEO in it, whether it's AI and all that, at the end of the day, I'm not going to nitpick that part today. It's a whole different other call. But it does need something. So a website with no SEO in it is literally just a pretty place that no one goes. It's like a very pretty hidden gem, okay? Because there's
cabin
nothing
in the woods.
Yeah, there's nothing drawing people to it. But also, he said everything. So I want to address this. We are jaded. When people say a marketing agency, 99% of the time they're talking about digital. Really, if y'all want me to tell y'all the truth, so hate me if you want to, marketing agencies should be doing multiple things. In my opinion. So I think you have digital agencies, right, that handle multiple digital things, but marketing is the sum of your branding and advertising tactics together. So that's why Lemon Seed is a true like marketing agency in the sense of we're brand forward. We keep all of your advertising tactics moving in that same direction, along with community involvement and all these other things. So it's splitting hairs, but it is where my brain is a little triggered.
And to piggyback off of, getting a good digital vendor that's going to help you have a website that's SEO optimized, things like that. And like what you're saying, John, like I have a buddy that does it. I would say find a digital company in the space that you're in. So in the HVAC world, in the plumbing world, things like that, they will have already a leg up than just your local vendor that builds websites for everybody. They're going to know and understand the seasonality of the business, how that is changing, understanding, maintenance versus install versus service, things like that, and how to word things appropriately for that. Sometimes a jack of all trades that's just geographically close to you, they're going to have a lot harder and you're not going to get the leg up as if you're working with someone that specializes in websites in the actual home service industry.
Yes. And that's one of the reasons that we don't really diversify very much. I mean, we might take a little personal prep project on, but for the most part, we are diligently working and learning the home service space more and more and more every day because of that the uniqueness of those industries. Same thing for people that do healthcare and medical, real estate. Those are all just different mindsets. And so our team lives in that space. But I would say if you don't have a lot of money yet to invest in like full agencies, like that little bit of a luxury of people to organize all those things for you, digital presence, your brand presence, your social media presence, that's where I would hang my hat. That's where I would be doing everything that I possibly could do myself personally, and maybe a CSR to manage. And then I just think that's a big part of overall success. And then those of you that are larger, here's what I'm going to say. Odds are you're a contractor that's really good at fixing and installing systems, and you're a terrible marketer.
Mm.
You don't really know what's working. You're going off of your gut. You're not creative. And so you rob and duplicate from everybody else that's in different parts of the country doing different equipment with different set of teams. And you call that a plan. A plan is not a strategy. You don't have a strategy. You have a list of vendors. And so what most of you are missing is a true strategy in place of how to make the orchestra sing, right? So, that's why orchestras practice, because if everybody just showed up and 3, 2, 1, and everybody just started playing, can you imagine what hot mess that would sound like? Are we playing soft, loud? Are we playing are we playing a pop song or a classical song? Somebody has to be the conductor. And so if it's not you, then who is it?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what Lemon Seed was built for, is the operators that don't want to, but no, I don't want to be it. Like, not it, right? That's what my kids do. Who's going to take out the trash? Not it, right? So a lot of that is important for you as the contractor to realize, like, you're not a failure at running your business because you can't control marketing or don't want to control marketing.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to lose your whole identity by relinquishing control. If anything, it should optimize and exemplify, and you should take a load off to where you make crucial decisions, but there's a team of people behind you getting the work done. And then what percentage of spend is recommended for marketing? So it depends on what growth level you're trying to go after.
Sure.
So you want to go after 50% growth, you better be seeing me over here at 10 to 12% marketing spend of your goal. Those of you that love to go, well, last year I did 2 million, so I'm going to do 10% of 2 million. Okay, so that we can hit 2 million again, or so that we can hit, so I would say if you're trying to grow by more than 20 to 30%, you should be over 10% marketing. And a lot of it depends. You could be priced incorrectly. You could also have low operational things. So that's why Lemon Seed does an audit before we take you on. Like, what is the real problem here? Are you not spending enough? Are you not operationally efficient? Are you priced too low? So I wish marketing was so much easier, or we could just flip a switch. It's just not. It is complex. The example that I use is when you go to the doctor, right? And you go make an appointment, like my back hurts, and you go in and you sit down in the room, the examination room, and the doctor does not just walk in there and be like, all right, so here's a prescription for high blood pressure. See you later. Right? They don't do that. They have to weigh you and measure, where all these things, they have to examine you. And so that's what Lemon Seed has to do to really take on a client, is we have to audit what the heck is going on.
Sure. And so back to your question, John, of what percentage of marketing spend, like Crystal said, if you're looking to grow 20, 30, yeah, you need to spend 10 to 12%. But like historically, what data has shown us is, like, just to maintain what you did last year, you need to be spending at least 5% in marketing dollars just to stay relevant, to stay top of mind. Because guess what? You got to re-earn every $1 that you earned last time. You got to resell it, redo that whole thing. So at least 5%, 7 to 8% will give you a little bit of growth. Not a huge lift. Like if you're going to grow 30% or so, but at least minimum 5%. But we like to see at least 7, 8, kind of up to 10, 12.
And all of that is with optimal operational things.
Correct.
So you are not going to grow your business with marketing alone. It has to be operations and marketing and pricing all working together. So I don't even want to mislead you.
That total dollar amount, that percentage, should also not be all that money in one basket. Like, you need to have a diversified marketing spend across different tactics, different platforms. What are you doing to build your brand? That's not a call to action. What are you doing to be found, to be discoverable when you do have that call to action piece? And then what are you doing to cultivate and foster your existing customers? So it's not just like, hey, thanks for your money, bye, never talk to you ever again. That's all kind of our 3-bucket approach, if you will, of how we need to be diversifying your marketing spend. So hopefully that helps you a little bit and gives you a good framework, John. That was a good question.
Yeah. And a big question. A lot of people ask those things. So a couple other little encouragements that we want to say as we wrap up here. So I want to remind you, what you see on social media is people's highlight reels. So when you're watching companies like, this company grew by 1,000%, I'm like, well, okay, but here's all the other things that happened. So people will say, well, if I rebrand, what's the expectation? And I'll say, well, what's the expectation of you increasing your average ticket? And they're like, well, and I'm like, same. So at the end of the day, this new look and feel should garner you lots of attention and some good calls and some good search volume around it. Now, what you do with those leads is up to you operationally. So ideally, we want to increase just exposure and awareness. And so don't get twisted up by seeing all these vanity metrics. And again, not all of them are vanity. Just a lot of them, there's more to the story than just, oh my God, they put a new van on the road. No, odds are there was lots of overall changes or acquisitions or something that happened in there. Yeah. And the other thing I would tell you is, every contractor has, or most contractors have the same struggles. It's hard to find people. People don't do the right thing. They never feel settled with marketing because it feels like it's working and then all of a sudden it's not. Google Local Services is a good example. It was killing it. Now it's not. Well, we redid all these billboards and we got all this attention and now we don't, because marketing is a game of chess that you sit down, you never get to get back up.
Or they saw someone on Facebook, they're like, they're doing this new shiny thing and like it's killing it for them. Why isn't it working for me? It must be your fault.
I mean, he said to start installing thermostats. And so I bought all these thermostats. And then I'm like, okay, so we had no operational plan for this. Or my irritated one, if I could just tell y'all my irritation. My irritation is if I look and you've been with 5 digital vendors in the last 3 years, I need you to like just look into a mirror. And she's like, you know what? Maybe I'm the problem. And a lot of times it's like zero patience or understanding of expectations of what a vendor is supposed to provide. So the odds of you finding 5 digital vendors that just screwed you over in that short amount of time is so very slim. There is something's not right. Either you're misaligned with expectations, you don't understand what you're buying, or you're just being too ridiculous. Your expectations are crazy. But I could say that for anything, like social media companies. Well, my social media is not growing. Okay, well, you haven't given us videos. Like, you just want us to post graphics and we tell you graphics aren't going to work.
Yes.
So just, you really need to get your expectations aligned.
Participate in it.
Yes.
Do what they ask you to do.
Stop having like, well, I'm paying y'all need to make me rich. And we're like, sir, I can't care more about your business than you do. And then the last thing I'll say, people say, well, you need to stop working in your business and work on your business. And I get it. I appreciate the sentiment there. But I do want to say, some of us, I'll put myself in here sometimes, we're too busy looking outside that we've not looked inside for a minute. We haven't just stopped for a minute and looked and said, okay, I'm chasing leads when my team can't even flip my maintenance club. Maybe if I just refocus for a minute and focus over here on, we're doing these things right. Why is it not working? So all marketing works with the right attention and expectations, right? So you just have to turn around and see. So Olga has a question here. How long should a billboard be run in one location? So a static billboard, so you've got like wrap on it that does not change.
It's printed. Yeah.
So I would say, to me, 6 months would be the most I would let it run, because it loses its catch. It starts blending into everyone, right? Because you want to catch local traffic. So my best billboard strategy tactic is look outside the main thoroughfare of where you can put billboards. So, if you're on an interstate, I don't buy interstate, because what's on the interstate? People that don't live here, right? And people that aren't going to buy from me. So I would rather get a less expensive board, because you're paying for the fact that there's lots of traffic on those interstates. So who wants to buy that? McDonald's. That's who wants to buy that. Bucky's or something. We want you to get more intermixed in the neighborhoods, but
by the local grocery store, by the school,
where there's intersections, people are going to be sitting at a red light. Also, you want them to be on the right-hand side as best as possible. Don't make them look across traffic to look at a billboard, but ahead of them, up and ahead. But also, 6 months is enough time for you to have something branded, but please don't overcomplicate your billboard design either. So it needs... Go ahead. I'll let you handle that one.
You said how long it should run in the same location. If it's a great location, I don't even think you have to change boards that often, but you should be changing your designs at least every 3 to 6 months. So if it's a great location, then don't just be like, 6 months is up, I'm going to ditch that one and go looking for a new spot. So that might be the case, but it also might not be. So changing that design. And then we also love when you can have a layered approach, so not just like that one billboard in that one place. When you can have it in a few different locations where they're like, I see you guys everywhere, versus I don't go shop at that grocery store, so like I never saw it. Having a layered approach, but that has a similar campaign, similar messaging. If it has to all be the same design, like that's better than nothing, I guess. But if they could all be somewhat similar, but a little clever spin on each of them, to where they're like, oh, I saw that one, it just makes it a little bit more memorable. But keeping it fresh, changing the design and or the location at least every 6 months would be our recommendation. And if it's a digital board, the one that scrolls and taking advantage of that, you should be changing that probably at least monthly. Okay. And if you are keeping that the same for 6 months, you are overpaying. The benefit of having that digital board is so that you can change out those graphics very quickly, with your seasonal offers, spotlights, things like that. That's the benefit of a digital board. And so if you're planning not to do anything for 6 months, do not invest in a digital board. Get a static board.
Yeah, and there's a lot to unpack there because again, I know you're going to get sick of me saying this, that it's a strategy. So when you bought that billboard, what was your strategy? So do I just need to put like my logo up there and my quick like trust crystalsheatingandair.com, and so I don't have to overthink it. I just want people seeing my logo, my name constantly. Or to Emily's point, are we running a campaign like our roofing company right now has nailed it? So every time, everywhere they turn around, it's like roofing, we nailed it, right? So plays off of that. Or what color is your comfort is our campaign. So there's all these, yellow things everywhere. So just be a little bit more intentional. But I'm going to tell you, there is a little strategy right now that a lot of billboard companies like Lamar and Outsource and things like that are sending out. And it's basically where you buy a board and they sit for 3 months and then they rotate and go to 3 other boards in that same market. And they come back and they kind of rotate. So as long as they're hitting that 3 months, so for 3 months, it's in a good location, you can have it. And then the next 3 months, they're going to change it. I'm not really against that at all. It's more about the intentionality of the design of what you're putting on them. So just kind of make sure if it's supposed to be lit, that it's lit. Make sure it's not covered by trees and pipe, or in the middle of a bunch of restaurant signage. Like, make sure it's got independent visibility there, and then see what the cost is to change out your creative on it, your wraps or the digital side, and budget that in to give yourself some room.
And preferably not next to a competitor's billboard also, because then it just looks like y'all are just at each other,
Yeah,
so
for sure. Good
Great question.
Yeah, thank you. All right, so I think that we will start wrapping up here if we don't have any more questions about this. But again, just some encouragement to you guys. Like, you're gonna make it. You're doing good things. Don't let summer make you feel like a failure with marketing or operations. It's just time. Normally with increased volume comes increased visibility to problems. So you just start attacking them one by one. I hope Lemon Seed can be one of the vendors that you choose to help you solve some of your issues. You can do that at lemonseedmarketing.com, fill out our contact us information. Friends and family talk free. So we'd love to get on a call and just kind of talk with you about what you're doing now. Just see, we kind of interview each other. Are you are you the type of client that Lemon Seed's looking to work with? And are we the type of people that you think you need as a part of your vendor list?
Straight.
Yeah, for sure. And then if you're looking to rebrand your company, I think what we really do well is from logo to launch, everything we do is a full plan of action. So we're not just going to abandon you with like, okay, here's a list of everything that, here, go do this. We are actually like walking you through it, showing you, brainstorming with you, and leading you down a good solid path so that brand doesn't just sit in a drawer. Today I was so sad. This vendor was like, I rebranded a couple of years ago. I've just never done anything with it. I'm like, what in the world?
Why? Yeah.
Well, just fear that they're going to do it wrong. So they don't do anything at all. Paralysis by analysis. So anyway,
well, pay attention to your team, pay attention to what you're doing, and you will have success through this summer. And don't let your foot off the gas. But if you need help getting organized, getting structured, having a brand forward approach, Lemon Seed is your team here. So, like John said, we're your partner, not your vendor. So, there's a link down below.
The average dollars
lemonseedmarketing.com/contact. What's the average you charge? We are a $300,000 company. My boss is skeptical to hire a marketing agency.
Oh, so we charge. Okay, so Lemon Seed has packages for ongoing support that start at $17.50 a month, and they go up to $31.50, just depending on the amount of services that you need. And then we do have like an onboarding audit that we do. And so Olga, fill out that form and let's visit. Lapita will be the one that responds, but she'll get you scheduled really quick and at least like get a plan of action so we can help you budget for it.
Sure.
So a $300,000 company is well on their way to being $1 million company. So if anything, we can like walk through some things and talk it through and see where we can come into play later. So definitely open to that. But Lemon Seed, we really love working with our clients. We are passionate. We're not for everyone. We are not a set it and forget it. John mentioned this. We're not a vendor. We're definitely a partner. We're not a lead gen source. We are just definitely here to support contractors. And so, hey, join me tomorrow in my webinar with Jen McKee.
It'll be fantastic.
We're going to be talking all about social media and some cool ways to do that. Build your brand on social. So if you're really interested in that, it's a free webinar that she and I are doing together tomorrow at 1:00 Central Standard Time. It is on our Lemon Seed social media right now. If you can't find it, email us at hello@lemonseedmarketing.com. And we'll get you the link and get you all signed up to watch that for free.
Awesome. Thanks for carving out an hour with us. Hopefully got some valuable information, and we will see you guys very soon.
Bye.